Welcome to Loving Me Before I Love You with Tammy Nicole, the podcast dedicated to you loving and putting yourself first. Others have come first in your life for years, and you know it's time for that to change. You're about to be empowered to set healthy boundaries, confidently have hard conversations, unapologetically put yourself first, and live the peaceful life you deserve. Remember, self-love is essential, and loving yourself sets the stage for every other love in your life. So get ready to embrace self-love like never before with your host, Coach Tammy Nicole.
Hey, welcome back to Transformation Tuesdays over at Loving Me Before I Love You. I am super excited, you guys. We have been talking this month about business, being a CEO, being an entrepreneur, and the pitfalls of entrepreneurship, the celebratory options, all of the things that kind of come with it. We tend to get super excited because we are setting our own schedules. We're able to just kind of live life according to our own terms. But another thing that we don't really like to talk about as often is, how do I get my business from being kind of stagnant? What is it that I do that kind of allows my business to grow? How did that big company like Home Depot, Lowe's, or Tesla, how did they go from being a small business to a large corporation? What did they do to scale? How did they strategize? And the other thing is, how does being you play a part in this process? How is it that you don't lose yourself when you try to grow your business? How is it that you are able to stay committed to who you are as an individual during the process of trying to grow? We know that growing sometimes lead us to become different people because we are seeing different types of money that we've never seen before. We are getting exposed to different industries and networks that we have never been a part of, and we change. But how do we make that change be growth in a positive way versus negative and becoming a whole different person that someone doesn't even recognize? But I don't talk about these things by myself. I always have somebody to join me. And I actually am having him back. I'm super excited that he's back to join us. His name is Archie, but he goes by Mr. 180. And he was with us back in April, and he's here with us again this month. I'm super excited to have him. Welcome to the show, Archie.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
And shall I really be saying welcome back to the show? It's very rare that I actually have someone that joins, that's a guest in 1 month and come back in the same year. We typically, we'll have you can come next season. You hear again.
I appreciate it. I feel like family.
That's right. So now when we talk about scaling a business, we talk about it from a standpoint, most people, not all, but talk about it from a standpoint of just growth as a whole. It's like, how am I growing my company? Some people talk about it from a standpoint of transition into other areas, right? So it's like, I may have, started out in, I don't know, let's just go with fashion. I started out in fashion, and I maybe was making t-shirts, and now I want to scale and make, jogging suits and, make an actual line. Then I might just want to scale and decide I want to offer styling services, like understanding how to scale a business, what it looks like when you say you're scaling a business. Talk to us about the growth of entrepreneurship.
Well, entrepreneurship, first off, is a gift. So all my entrepreneurs out there do understand you can't take for granted the gift that God has given you. Scaling a business, and I can speak on myself. I started off as a simple photographer. I just wanted to, because I was a model. A lot of people don't know I was a teenage model. My parents had put me into modeling when I was young. So I had already had the experience of modeling. But then when I got 28, 29, I came back, and I was technically the old person in there. And these young people were bringing in new things. From there, I went into photography. And I just wanted to be the best photographer that I wanted to be. I was doing schools, I was doing graduations, doing weddings. And then I was like, let me get into branding. And the thing is, what a lot of people don't understand is do your homework before you start scaling. When you start moving into new areas of business and starting new things, opening up a new department, you got to use, I use words that, you guys might be like, oh, well, what does scaling mean? Okay, opening up a new area in your business, a new department, you know. And when it came to branding, I had to do research. What is it that business owners need? They need a headshot. So my photography never took a back burner. It slowed down and I started learning new things. Now, granted, at the same time, I was still getting booked for photography shoots because that was what was funding the new scale and the new add-ons. Because you don't want to go and take all that you're doing and put all your eggs in one basket. That's you. It's like gambling on red, and if you get black, you've lost everything. So you want to just make sure that, okay, hey, let me try this. Like me, I'm a trial and error entrepreneur. So, hey, let me try this a little bit. And I live on the 3-month standard. In 3 months, what is the growth of it? Are we just spending a bunch of money and getting no return? Are we getting a 50% return? Are we getting a 10% return? And if you're getting a 10% return, are you okay with that for another 3 months? Because sometimes you have to be okay with a 10% return, but knowing that the networking was worth that 3 months. I remember I did a whole 6 months and I got probably like a 10 to 15% return, but I networked so much that when I upped the prices, it was easier for me to start getting my return back. Then I had to kind of fix what I was doing. As they say, tweak what you're doing. Okay, hey, I'm doing a little bit of this. You use clothing line. My first business was a clothing store. And it was crazy that you used that. And I had a clothing store. And I remember when one time the Nike suits were a big thing. So I went and bought all these Nike suits. And then I was stuck with all these Nike suits because I thought that they was all going to sell out when all the larges and extra larges were gone. But the smalls and mediums were still sitting there. Now I have all this inventory where, you know what? Okay, next time we go into inventory, we're going to get less and sell out more, and you sell out quicker. But guess what? Then we can go back and see what was. And then Black History Month came. And then, African apparel was big at a point. I remember that season. Everybody wanted a African apparel, a nice pattern. And you just have to understand when you're scaling to new territory. I'm not saying to be scared, because you never want to be scared and going into, but you do want to do research and you do want to make sure that it's making sense for your business. You don't want to just go in and say, oh, I'm going to go and make 1,000 shirts.
Right.
And you haven't sold 10. And it's like, it's a good idea. Let me tell you, as an entrepreneur with ADHD, and I'm a serial entrepreneur, this is what I do. Everything seems like a good idea when you putting it in your head and you're like, you know what? I remember when I was creating shirts and I bought the heat press and I had the Cricut and I had this, and I spent $2,000 and created an office, and I was going to do this and I was going to do that. And I remember people weren't buying my shirts and people weren't doing this, and I spent all this money on all this gear, and then I'm stuck on it because I didn't have the time to go to pop-up shops. I wasn't able to go, and, when I would go out there, yes, I would make money, but you got to put that into your scale as well. Where's my time to sell all this stuff? Where's my time to put the word out there? Who's my audience?
Yeah.
But it goes with your research. I don't know if I answered the question, but I want people to understand when it comes to scaling a business and growing, you always want to grow. There are seasons where you're in, I look at my son, for example. My son has been in 3T. This has been a blessing for about 3 to 4 months. And I've just been so grateful because I'm like, okay, he slowed down on growing. now he can wear all these clothes that we've bought, and we're not just wearing them once and putting something new on. There's times where you're like that, like, hey, okay, this is my season where I'm okay with being steady. Being steady and being stagnant is two different things.
Facts.
Being steady, I'm going to say that again, being steady and being stagnant are two different things. But you have to also understand this as an entrepreneur, because the way that the world is, things are always changing, things are always moving, you have to, and I tell people this all the time, you have to always reinvent yourself. I have a magazine company now, Again, I started off as a photographer. I post for 10 companies right now. I literally I do their content creation. I post on their social media. They don't have to worry about if there's a post today, because that's the rule of thumb. If you're an entrepreneur, you have to have at least 1 to 2 posts every day on social media, because we're in a social media world. If you don't have a post in 3 days, you're not really a company. That's how young people look at it, But I started off as a photographer. But then I said, you know what? I am on social media all day trying to see who's who and what's what. I do post all the time for myself. Then a company offered me $200 to post for them. Now I'm at a point 7 months in, they pay me $1,200 a month per company to post for them every day, to answer their messages. And some days people be inboxing some of these companies, but it comes to a point of, I did my research. My thing is what you don't want to do. And I'm going to say this because my mother told me this, because my mother was a business owner. She said, you don't want to have 10 companies that all are bad and you've never mastered none of them. You just got, I'm a business owner.
Yeah.
Give me one thing.
Don't have them as a hobby, really.
Right.
Have hobbies and not companies.
And that was one thing that I went through with my family. What turns this from a hobby into a career? What turns this from a hobby into a company? What turns it from that? When you get up, everybody, oh man, you make your own schedule. I get up every day at 8 a.m. I'm in my office by 9 a.m. And even when I don't have a big workload, I'm always working. There's always something I could be working on for the next month. I put out a magazine every month. I'm posting for 10 companies. I'm doing research. And even if you work a 9 to 5, you'll always have training. Let's be real. No matter what job you work, there's always there's a training module we need you to do. Hey, we need you to do this training module. So you always got time to learn what you're doing, and it comes to a point where, you want to be able to master your foundation. Yeah. So then you can begin, because everybody wants to make money. Isn't that the name of the game? I believe that's the name of the game, right? Yeah. Like, you want to make a profit. You want to make money. Everybody wants to make money. And let me tell you this, if it was that easy, everybody would be doing it.
That's true. That's true. It does, I used to say that all the time. Anything worth having is worth working for. And so when you are in that process of saying, I want this, I want to have the freedom of doing what I want to do, how I want to do it. It's like, what are you worth? What are you worth? What are you willing to give up in the process? Because there is definitely something you're going to have to sacrifice in order to be an entrepreneur. It looks easy, but the part that looks easy are the results, not the process. So a lot of times we see only the end or the outcome of someone who has been working for 10 and 15 years just to get to where they are. There are times where people, have what we call overnight success. They walk.
But is it really overnight? But is it really overnight success?
Well, I'm saying the ones that walk into a room, have the right connection, and it's like those connections have everything kind of laid out. And it's like, yes, we do this in 2.5 seconds. We do boom, 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 boom. And you started on the 1st, and by the 30th, you making sales, or by the 30th, you are in front of the right crowd to, win them over for whatever you're working. or you're on somebody's stage if you wanted to be a speaker, you have clients if you wanted coaching, you have, you know what I mean? Like there are some overnight success when you have the right connections, but most of those people that have the right, they charging you an arm and a leg, right? Right now, your quick success is coming from big money, you know what I mean? Like big investments. But reality is everything takes time if it's going to be done right. It's not going to just happen because you blink 2 times and say, snap my fingers, boom, here we are. However, in that process, I think when you want to become an entrepreneur, I think you need to see who you are first. How does who I am align with what I want to do? And a lot of times we just choose things based upon the financial outcome versus the alignment with who you are. So what works for Archie may not work for Tammy, because what Archie is doing is not something that aligns with what Tammy, needs to be doing. So I could see what Archie does and go, boom, he did it. I'm going to do it. Oh, he was a photographer first. Let me get this camera. Let me go out here and shoot. My pictures are not coming out as good as Archie's because that's not my passion. It don't align with me. It ain't something I even care about. I just saw Archie made $25,000 in 30 days by being a photographer. Boom, let me go do it. We have to stop picking up other people's passions, trying to make them our own for the sake of the dollar that came from it.
I like that. And to add on there, what you see on social media is not it's not what it is. I tell people this, they see the magazine every month, but nobody knows at 3:00 in the morning I'm up working while you're all sleeping. I'm in my office working. A lot of people don't know the scheduling. They see me in different cities and they see me in different states, and I let them know, I get off a plane, I get 2 hours of sleep. And then, at one point, and I'm going to be very transparent on this one. At one point, we had a nurse traveling with me because I was doing IV infusions because I needed energy, and I needed water, and I needed vitamins, and I needed this, and I was eating McDonald's, and I was eating this, and that's when I gained all the weight, and everybody like, man, he's blowing up, he's getting fat, and it was just like, I had people traveling with me, but let me tell you this. Everybody thought I had a lot of money and didn't know I'm paying this nurse all my money, all my profits, because it was what was keeping me really kind of alive, at the time. Yeah. And a lot of people don't know really a lot of the work that goes behind it. For example, with my photography, how did I do it? I remember shooting some celebrities, we can't name them. Right. I shot them for free because I wanted to be in the room. I was hungry.
Oh, and yeah. I'm sitting outside. You do a lot of stuff for free in the beginning. When you are really trying to make it. I remember when I was trying to become a speaker, I'm going to speak at your thing for free. I don't care that it said keynote. I just need you to put me on somebody's flyer. I need somebody to video what I'm doing, and that I can take it and use it as content to make another paid excursion. Like, I just need it to be what it is. But there are a lot of times you're going to do stuff for free. My thing is, do what aligns with you, though. Don't just do it because you saw, 10 of your friends doing it. I mean,
can I ask you this question? Mm-hmm. If I can ask you a question, have you seen those business owners or people or friends that don't do what's aligned with them? They're trying to do what you're doing. They come on the scene, and then a year, I got a few that was like 3 months. They're gone. They're back working at.
Oh, absolutely, because it wasn't something that they had a passion for, right? And then they will use the excuse of it just didn't work for me. And now sometimes I always feel like this. Anything works if it's working a principle, because it's the principle that works. It's not necessarily the things that are surrounding it, right? You have to decide what principle do you align with and how are you going to implement and operate out of it. And I think a lot of times we, again, the visual. It's like, why are you doing it? Understand the why, and then make a plan to make it happen.
And once you understand your why as a person, your why will be it's equivalent to your purpose. What is my purpose? Why are we doing this? You know, why, what, and I tell people when I coach businesses, I do a lot of social media management with companies. And I ask them, when instead of me asking them, what is your why? What is your end goal? What tells me, hey, we made it. We did it.
Right.
Is getting 60,000 followers saying, hey, we did that. Is getting 1 million views on a video saying, hey, we did that. Is getting $1,000 booking saying, hey, we did that. What is the end goal? And then once you realize what your end goal is, then you make your plan strategically. How do we get to that goal? How do we, a lot of times, what a lot of entrepreneurs fail at, you stop showing up. You show up in the first 2 weeks and it's good and it's easy. You make a little bit of money and then you kind of fall off. Oh, no, the consistency has always been key, even when it's bad. Sometimes it's not going to be the best. You know, I have a lot of friends that are in real estate. And they are killing the game. Like my little BMW has nothing on they Rolls Royces and they pulling up big Bentleys. And it's like, man, I could do that and do this. But then you know what? I realized that's not my passion. Like, why? Okay, looking at houses is cool. Helping sell house. Remodeling a house, yeah, that's cool. But is that really what God has called me to do?
Yeah.
Nah. And it could be about the money. Like, I have had a couple investments where it's like, it's about the money. I'm going to do this for 3 months and I'm getting out. You know, but when you say entrepreneur and this is what I'm doing, and I see them doing this, so I'm going to try to do this. I have a friend, real story. They have Airbnbs. I think she has like 20 of them. And she was looking for a cleaner for her Airbnb. The pay was great. I'm like, okay, I can do that. Magazine, take photos. I can add that and bring in an extra for a car note. Like it was, a high-end car note. And I got over there the first day and I'm like, am I really like cleaning somebody's house? Is this really what am I doing? Yeah. What, like, nothing against people that do it, because my oldest daughter owns a cleaning service and I push her brand all day. But is that what God has called me to do? Or am I just here because I want to be in the mix?
Now, see, my entrepreneurial mind would have went into the fact that, oh no, I'm going to get my daughter's company to do it. I'm going to take a consultant fee, because this is how that's just how my mind works, right? Mm-hmm. And then the other thing I'm going to turn around and do, if I'm a photographer, is say, hey, no, you're getting all these Airbnbs. You need updated photos for your sites. Let me come in and do that piece. She cleans it. I'm going to come take some photos behind it. They're updated photos. We get, more professional photos out there for your Airbnb so that you can get booked more often. Like, that would have been my line of thinking to keep me aligned with who I am. And
what did I do? What do you think I did?
I'm hoping you did that.
I post all the Airbnbs on the Airbnb. I manage their social media all the way around. So I know all the Airbnbs, and I was like, hey, look, I know there's part of the company that you need me. This just isn't it. And at that time my daughter wasn't ready for that. And speaking of that, because I'm speaking from a truthful space, y'all. Sometimes we're not ready for the elevation that we're trying to go in.
That's true.
And at that time, my daughter wasn't prepared. And as a father, I'm like, she's not ready yet. Now the opportunity is, I've put my daughter in the door places. So it's like, hey, that's what you need to do. But at that particular moment, I was man enough, entrepreneur enough to say, she's not prepared for that. Not yet. But then also I had to tell them, yeah, let me do your social media management. Let me come back behind and do this part. It might not be as quick as what you're doing, but yeah, but that's the entrepreneur in us,
Yeah.
where we can find the purpose and the solution to a problem that they might not even known. They didn't even realize that they had,
Right.
and I was like, well, did you know if you look on your social media, nobody knows that you have these Airbnbs.
Yeah.
Nobody knows that, you got to go on Airbnb and find you. Why are you not posting on your social media? Well, I don't know how to do that. I don't have time to do this. Oh, don't worry about it. Here goes my offer.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened with my magazine. I remember when my magazine went international, we was in countries that I had never even heard of. And I'm like, okay, but it was the timing. If I would have went anything sooner than when it went, it would have been taken as a joke. It wouldn't have been taken serious. It would have been a pamphlet. It would have been a whatever they were calling me at the beginning.
Yeah.
Now it's an accredited magazine, and it's like, okay, at that particular time, and even at that time, those growing pains were hard because they're saying, this is all right. I'm in front of people with millions of dollars. This is all right. It could be better. And then somebody came in and was just, no, this is what we're going to do. And I'm like, how are you going to just reconstruct my company? No, da, 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 da. But I had to listen to figure out, okay, I want to be able to elevate.
Yeah.
So now when I elevate, you know what? Now I can go in the room and you're not going to talk to me crazy like they did, because I had a couple of people, but at the time I needed their help. So what do?
Yeah.
But.
Wow, today's episode is a good one. I know you're enjoying it, and we'll get back to it shortly. Just wanted to take a quick break to let you know that Tammy would love for you to share any questions, comments, or topic ideas you have with her. All you have to do is send them to her in an email to podcast@IamTammyNicole.com. Thank you, and without further ado, let's get back into today's show.
I agree. I think when you talk about like strategy or the plan to make the growth happen, you do have to sit and say, I don't know it all. Let me find somebody who does. Let me find somebody who I can trust. Let me find somebody that has some results. Let me find someone who will kind of lead me in the right direction in order to make those growth changes.
Talk about that real quick, because the issue I do have with a lot of people is you'll give your money to people that don't have results. And that's an issue for me. I remember when they had so much stuff going on, and I used to tell people, you can't come and try to sell me, oh, we're going to make $1 million doing this, that, and the third, and you don't have a car. Or you don't, okay, well, where's your investment in it? Let's see what you've done. You definitely want to build your team with accredited people. And it's okay to give people a chance that hey, this is what they do. It's okay to give them a chance, but definitely sought after people that have results, especially when you're spending your money and go back a year and see what they were doing a year ago. Even if they're newer, they could be newer to it. Okay, ask them, what is their strategy? Okay, what's your strategy to get us to where, and make sure who you're aligning with aligns with your purpose and your vision.
Yeah.
Because people will connect with you and have their own agenda.
Yeah, and everything sounds good, ain't good. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times people can make it sound good. So having relative evidence of something being something is important. We do teach a lot of people to do what we call proof in the pudding. Like, where's your proof that what you're doing works? And you'll get somebody to do a testimonial, etc. And I always say, if the testimonial sounds too good to be true, that may be exactly it, because you can always pay a friend to get up on and do a video and say, oh my God, this was blah, 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 blah. But it's when you find the organic review that kind of came out of nowhere, that nobody solicited, that nobody asked for, that they're not tagging you in, that they're just like, yo, I did blah, 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 blah with this person and this was my outcome. I would send anybody to them. This ain't no paid, da, 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 da. I don't, I ain't even tagging them. You know what I mean? If you want the information, you're going to have to hit me up to get it. Type of review. Those are the ones that you say, okay, it worked. And then you also have to always remember that it only works if you work it, no matter who you get to help you. I don't care what it is. If you're not going to put in the time and effort to make something work, it's pointless. You have to work it. You have to say, if it says do A, B, C, and D, I'm going to do A, B, C, and D. I'm not going to just do A, skip B, try, look at C, but like, no, that ain't really, I don't want to do that, and go for D. And you needed all of them in order for it to get the outcome that you're really looking for. That's just like why am I doing this? But the other thing is, let's talk about once you have succeeded. Let's talk about once you have said, you know what? I figured out this scaling thing. I'm scaling. Things are going well. And how do I stay rooted and grounded in me? How do I stay humble? How do I stay not, level-headed, where you don't get so grand that you feel like you're untouchable and then you lose it all? That you don't stay in your own practical routines, that you don't stay with the principles that got you here, that you just kind of lose your way. I always think about how God does. God say, oh, you call me when you need a blessing. When you get the blessing, I don't hear from you. It's like, Jesus, get me out of this one more time. Jesus, help me here one more time. Jesus, do this. Jesus, do that. And then he, boom, bam, here you go. You get everything you want. You living the life. Ain't been to church since you got it.
Wow.
Ain't opened the Bible since you got it. Ain't said a prayer besides bless this food since you got it. Don't do it. Don't lose you because you've gained success. Don't lose you because you strategized your way into scaling your business to the next level.
I can say, on a real honest note, I remember when my business took off. I was doing good. Every picture you see me, I was with a different celebrity. I'm on every stage, like stages I never would have dreamed of. And I remember one day, God began to speak to me. How is this helping you get to the end goal? Was this the purpose? And that's the times when you have to remember, what is my purpose? What is, God is, even when I remember when I was on the stage with Patti LaBelle and people were calling to do interviews, and I was like, okay, yeah, sure, let's do it. Hey, but I'm traveling, so you have to accept that I'm in a hotel, saying this and the third. And they were like, man, you're still doing podcasts and you're still doing this. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just Archie, man. I want to help everybody. But I had to learn what my purpose was. I never want to get to a point, I still go to the grocery store. I still do everything that everybody else does, You have to know what your purpose is. And once you realize how are you the answer to somebody's question, you'll never get too grand.
That's good.
You'll never get too big. You'll never get too big-headed. I don't care who you're around. And I had to learn this because it was at a point where my team was booking nothing but celebrities for the magazine, nothing. And it was like, that's not what this is about. And it was a celebrity I was working with, and they were just so grand. And, oh, you can't do this. Oh, we can't say this. We can't do this. Da, 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 da. And it was just overwhelming, where it was becoming unenjoyable. And let me explain to you, when you lose purpose, it becomes unenjoyable. And when it becomes unenjoyable, that's when you mess up and start losing things. That's when you mess up and just start talking. You're just saying stuff. And you're like, well, why did they say that? Oh, no, I'm not a fan of theirs anymore. And one person can say something about you and you lose
Or
everything that God gave you. You have to stay in alignment. And I learned that very fast in my career, that, hey, I got to stay in alignment. And I tell people, if I can't take my kids with me, my family with me, I can't take, my purpose with me, and I can't take God. God goes, if I can't talk about God wherever I'm going, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
I can get a babysitter from a kid, but if God can't go with me, I can't go. You get where I'm coming from? And that's really what it's about, is remembering what is the foundation of what we're doing. If you're saying, hey, I want to coach women that are coming out of a struggle, that had a hard time, and I just want to coach them there, even if you do get on Tamron Hall, love her to death, even if you do go on there, you can't get, oh, well, I've been on Tamron Hall and da 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 da. No, 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 no. What was the purpose that God gave you? What was who is your audience? I could never make my prices $20,000 because I know my audience might not be able to afford that. You get where I'm coming from.
Yes.
So guess what? Yes, I do have bookings that pay very well, but then I also have these. Hey, let's do it. I'll come to your event. I'm not tripping. I'll come. I'm down. But it's really making sure that you understand what your purpose is and what's your why.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? Why? Who am I trying to reach?
Yeah.
And I made a decree to God that it's that one black boy, that one brown boy that looked like me, sound like me. I used to have hair, y'all. I promise I did. With the big lips, the big nose, and you're black, and you this boy, and you played a little bit of sports, and you might have got bullied, and you couldn't understand why I didn't fit in. And I'm loud, and some say I'm obnoxious. Some can say mean things to you. But guess what? I want that one black boy to understand, hey, there's this bald-headed, big-headed, bald-headed man that made it out and is killing the game. And if he can do it, I can too. So I dare not get to a point where people can't approach me because they might be the parent to that little brown black boy that could change somebody's life.
Yeah.
I can go on that forever. I'm sorry. I get real passionate when it comes to that.
Yeah, but ultimately that's the place that has to always remain if you really want to grow and do strategy to scale the business, right?
Yes.
Remaining focused. I think about the business like I think about any other relationship, mainly marriage, because that business is your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
You are married to it, and if God ain't the center of it, what are we doing? You know what I
Correct.
mean? And so I think if you don't stay connected to the why, connected to your own alignment, growing it, though it's possible, is it sustainable? Because you want your scaling to be sustainable, not just to scale to fail.
I like that. And that's the thing is, and it goes back to consistency.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want it's like buying a house. A lot of people, all my homeowners, those that have not purchased home, when they approve you for that, they ask you for 2 years of income tax returns, they ask you for all this stuff. And it's not the fact of the difference between a house and a car. I learned was with a car, they're looking for 6 months. Boom, 6 months, a year, maybe paid off. With a home, you're talking about 30 years. They're looking for consistency of, hey, can they keep this more than 6 months? Because a lot of people don't understand the bank doesn't make money till what, the third year? I think it's they try to keep you in the house that first, second, and third year. Then they start making money off of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the thing is, they want to make sure, like, hey, can you afford to keep? Again, it goes to, you don't want to scale your business and it worked for 3 months. And then you're, oh, I just got tired, or, oh, it didn't work out. Or no, what is going to help me sustain for the next year?
Yeah.
You know, what is the plan? How are we making our calendar? I remember my assistant when she started me on the quarterly, hey, we need to do the quarterly calendar. We do the whole year and then we're going to move quarterly. We're in the second quarter right now. We're in the second quarter of the year, you know, and I remember and I was like, wait, what is this? And we're doing what? And how are we going to win this quarter? We got our year calendar. What are we going to do this quarter? And you have to really break, okay, what are we going to do this month?
Yeah.
What happens this week? Here goes the calendar for the week. This is for the month. This is for the quarter. This is for the year.
Yep.
And that's really where it comes to, okay, scaling and making sure, like you just said, Coach, you don't want to scale to fail. No. That's like saying I want to go to school just to get F's.
Right.
Nobody gets married to get divorced.
Right. That's not, I hope that's not the real plan, right?
That's not the plan.
But in all of it, right? What strategy would you give to an entrepreneur who is ready, who thinks they're ready to scale their business? What strategies would you give?
First off, my first strategy is make sure that your finances are right. Make sure all your paperwork is right. Make sure you're ready. Mm-hmm. Number 2, get your mental together. Prepare yourself to build a team. From one entrepreneur to another, you can't do everything. When you start going to the next level, you can't be everywhere. I can't be in Texas and California. I can't be in Texas and Florida. And I'm saying these places because this is where I have stores at. This is where I have properties at. I can't be in 2 places. But guess what? My plumber can. My employees can be there. Be ready to build a team. Number 2, strategically come up with what are we doing? Don't get scatterbrained. We're going to do this. Oh, this didn't work. Now we're going to do this. This didn't work. No, be prepared to take the whole quarter to work. I like something that you said really, and it really stuck out to me. Work it no matter who's working with you. You have to make sure that you're doing your part. Strategically saying, hey, how is this going to grow the foundation? Okay, we have the foundation here. How do we build the house? You know, we have the umbrella. Now let's open it. Or we have the tree. Now we're going to get some branches on here. And this is what this is going to bring. But start looking at, okay, what's my out? What am I putting out? What do I expect to come in?
Yeah.
You don't expect to just spend. Yeah. If you got that kind of money, then hey, I don't understand the whole point. But you want to, okay, this is what I want to put out. This is what I want to put in. And if I can say this, and a lot of people might get mad at me, Coach, seek wise counsel. Seek people that are in that lane. You want to be a fashion designer? See if maybe one of your coaches that you're looking at has a master class. You want to get into real estate? Go get in a master class. Do some research. And I'm going to tell you this just from me. Don't think you're the first one that came up with this idea and it's going to work so perfect because you're the only one with the idea.
No.
Because
I will say what is for you is for you, right?
True.
And it doesn't matter. I mean, like, I always use the example of Home Depot and Lowe's. They sell the same stuff.
True.
Okay. So you can do something that is directly similar and alike to someone else's job or business. But what you're doing is putting your own special spin on it, your own unique touch that makes it unique to you, that you have an audience for.
Yep.
Everybody don't go to Home Depot, just like everybody don't go to Lowe's, but both of them are successful. Both of them sell. I mean, you want wood, you can go to either one of them. You want some flowers,
Correct.
You can go to either one of them. You need a ceiling fan, you can go to either one of them. You can go to both of them. And here's the crazy part. And get the same vendor type item. Like, it's the same brand. They selling the exact same product. Are their prices the same? No, they're not.
They're not.
Is their customer service the same? No, it's not. So that's what makes them different, and that's what sets them apart, which keeps you going to either one of them. Now, you can be a person like me who have no loyalty to either one and go for where the best price is for the item. Or you can be like somebody else that is like built on customer service and say, oh no, Lowe's customer service is top tier. It gives me that luxury feel.
And I'm the Lowe's person that I strictly go to Lowe's. I don't go to Home Depot, But then let's speak on that. That's what happens in your business. You'll get people that are loyal just to you. I tell people this all the time. I can put the best content out there for you, right? But people are going to buy because of you. I remember when I was selling magazines out the trunk of my car, and people were buying the magazine because Archie was selling the magazine. Yeah. Not because I was this, that, and the third. And not because it was so great. I go back and look at it, it really wasn't that good, But it was because, oh man, we see this man, whatever reason, if it was sympathy, if it was good to them, whatever their reason was, they had loyalty and they grew with me. And you'll find your customer, you'll find your clients that will grow with you, that will give you the opportunity to grow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for helping these people because they needed it. But scaling is important. You don't ever want to get a business and stay stagnant. But if I'm not, and let me digress with it just a little bit, because if that's your calling and purpose to be in this one little spot and do nothing beyond it, no greater, no lesser, it's like I start and stop here. By all means, if that's the calling for your life to do that, do it well. Do it and do it well, and do it to your betterment for you as an individual. Remember, you have to know who you are before you even start the entrepreneurial journey. And once you're on it, stay true to it. You know what I mean?
Ooh, I like that.
Archie, tell them where they can find you if they wanted more assistance. They want some social media management. They want, to get in your magazine. Tell them what they can do.
Definitely come over to 180life.com, 180lyfe.com. Drop us a line, let me know. Or you can go on Facebook, Archie J. Jenkins. I'm on there 24/7. You can go on Instagram, 180life_180 show. Anything on Instagram, 180 Life Enterprise Magazine, 180 Studios. But if you go to 180life.com, if you see that car zooming by and it says 180life.com on the side, yes, flag me down. You might see me at the gas pump because the prices of gas is coming down. Flag me down and let me know, hey, look, let's work, let's talk. I'm down for networking. I'm down to listen. Look, let's take it to the next level because that's what it's all about. And I appreciate you, Coach, for having me. For real. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. And you remember, if you want to learn how to get connected to yourself, get aligned with yourself, if you want to learn how to love yourself more, hit me at coaching@IamTammyNicole.com, because over here we love ourselves so much that the love from others is a bonus. Have a great Tuesday.
That's a wrap on another episode of Loving Me Before I Love You. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a second to show your support by subscribing and leaving a positive rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Stay connected with Tammy. Make sure you're following her on Instagram and TikTok at Coach Tammy Nicole. If you like to work with Tammy or have any questions you'd like her to answer, please head over to www.IamTammyNicole.com. Until next time, always remember to love yourself so much that the love from others is a bonus.